All right, welcome back, everybody. As you see in front of us, the 2000 F350, or we call the red truck. I just wanted to talk about this a little bit. For those of you that haven't seen the previous videos on this truck, or even the Cummins swap, definitely check out our videos. There's a lot of cool stuff in there, and you can probably make fun of us. But those of you that have watched it might be thinking, you know, you guys need to learn how to diagnose a problem or, you know, figure things out properly without throwing money at them. But I just wanted to bring this side of it. It's a 2000 with 250,000 miles, something like that.
40.
We had a noise. We couldn't really tell where it was. If you rode in the truck, you'd be with us. It didn't make sense where it was coming from. So we threw a transfer case in it because they're cheap and easy to do. So we had a noise that we were trying to diagnose. We thought it was coming from the transfer case, and one of the issues we had was no for low. So a transfer case is cheap, I think it was like $200, $250. So we threw a transfer case in it. It didn't fix the noise, but we do have for low, so we did fix something. And well, if it's not the transfer case, it's got to be a bearing in the transmission. Well, not long after that, we started having shifting issues in the transmission. Again, 250,000 miles. We figured we don't want this truck to let us down. We threw a transmission in it. It didn't fix the noise, but now the transmission shifts good, or it did. We have a wiring issue. So then we found it was indeed the pinion bearings or the bearings in the rear axle. But with older vehicles with multiple problems, sometimes it's a process of elimination. And that's what we've been doing. We're not just throwing parts at this. We're just trying to get everything done one at a time. We do have a shifting issue, which is what we're taking care of today. I believe it's a wiring issue. We found 3 corroded wires last week, which I believe we have footage of. It worked good for a couple of days and did it again. So I got a wiring diagram. We're gonna dig into it today and see if we can figure out why it's not shifting. If it's not that, I have a new control module from the manufacturer of this transmission that we're gonna throw in it. So let's dig into it, see if we can find some bad wires, or if we got to move to the next step.
All right, guys, if you want tips and tricks on how to maintain your air filter, take it from me. Look how good this thing looks. I think there's only like 100,000 miles on it. So in all seriousness, though, we will be doing a whole new air box setup on this. I don't know what we'll get yet. Yeah, a whole air intake. I don't know what we're going to do yet, but I've just been cheap and haven't spent the money and been sucking in probably terrible things for my engine. So, but on the list is we'll rebuild this 7.3 at some point, whether that's 2 years out, I don't know. We'll see.
I can't connect to the PCM with my scanner. I set it down in the truck. That was the issue we had last week. We fixed 3 wires. I wasn't able to connect. We drove it. I was able to connect, but the transmission wasn't shifting. I am now unable to connect to the PCM again, and it's not shifting right again. So we definitely have a bad wire. I've got some wiring diagrams. We're going to dig into this thing and see if we can find another bad wire, and hopefully it just fixes everything.
Okay, so right in here where you see those connectors, the pink ones, maybe, that's where we fixed 2 wires that were coming into this plug. And so we're going to chase these wires down through the harness, and we're actually going to go through our wheel well area. We're going to pull that whole inner fender out and see what we can find.
So you can kind of see a better view of the wires we repaired. The one we didn't want to cut, we just put dielectric grease on. We had to repair 2 wires. So I'm hoping with the issues we have, there's another one in here that's corroded, as bad as that sounds. This harness right here is what goes down to the transmission. So the neutral safety switch and the actual transmission shift solenoid. Hopefully we can find something in here that's the culprit of our funny shifting, or lack thereof shifting. And this is all the stuff that goes to the back. So your tail lights, your trailer brake wiring, all that kind of stuff. That's what that harness is right there. So I have this wiring diagram of our transmission shift solenoid, or shift control solenoids. What I want to figure out is, out of the 3 wires, which wires we fixed. But I don't see any more signs of corrosion here. I want to check and see which of these 16 wires go to the I think it was like 8, or there's 12 on the transmission. And we're going to check each one and make sure that we don't have an issue. Can I have that mirror back, please?
Oh, nope. These alligators keep eating my tires.
We unplugged the transmission connector and I found corrosion in the connector, and I'm trying to verify. I don't think it was in our plug. I think whoever rebuilt this transmission didn't replace the solenoid block.
Yeah, this connector is not good.
Right now, the wire harness goes over top the transmission and is pinched by the transmission cooler line that runs, so I can't get it to throw it back over, because then it'll be long enough we can hang down. Right now, I can't get to it. Because if I can throw it over to the other side, we can hang it right down to the ground, we can work on it.
So here's an old connector off of one of the transmissions that we had in here. So we're gonna see if this connector will work to replace our current connector. You know, I was trying to tell Tim, if we would have just started down at the transmission, we wouldn't have had to pull the wheel well out. But you know, Tim just is on his own schedule.
All right, you got to see this, guys. Look at this. That is not factory, and it goes quite a ways. That could be our issue. We got to figure out what's going on here. But that's not watertight. Electrical tape is not watertight. Definitely have corrosion in our connector, and our connector, I don't know if you can see it, is busted right there. And the locking tab is broke. So I think at minimum we're gonna pull all the wires out of this one at a time and repin the good wires into our other connector that's not broken. And then the bad wires we'll go ahead and change out, but none of these look good.
I think so too. So Tim, what we should do, change the connector, drive it.
Yep, I'm with you. So
My idea.
Huh?
Oh, nothing.
So we're just gonna do it right. We're gonna do a solder and heat shrink on those like they're supposed to be. So they normally have this red cover, and so we couldn't see all the corrosion in there. And then if this fixes it, we'll buy one with like a foot of pigtail, and then we can stagger all of our joints, because that's the right way to do it. So we're gonna throw this back up on top and see how she does.
Just hooked up the ECM. I got that back. We wanted to make sure all the connections look good there. The 2 wires that we had fixed up here, we disconnected that plug. We wanted to test our continuity. So got these 2 plugged back in. Tim's finishing up down there, and we'll take it on a test drive and see if she shifts.
Now that we've got everything buttoned up underneath, we inspected the wires, we fixed the bad connections, the new, I don't know what I did with it, the new connector's on. It's time to put the inner fender in so we can take this thing for a drive and not fill all this electrical with road debris and dirt and salt.
That's first. There's second. There's that rear shift, yep. Well, we are on a hill, so it might wait a second. I can't remember what my torque converter log is. Just a second. There you go.
There's torque converter lock, 100%. That's what it was. It was that connector.
Totally. Red truck is shifting good. It was just that connector, those wires that were all jacked up. So we had the 2 wires under the hood, fix those. Wires at the connector and the actual connector. Got that fixed, so that's good. And now we can get back to the Cummins bill. Let's do it.
But yet another problem. In our previous videos, we put a transmission in this truck because it wasn't shifting right. It's got 250,000 on it. And when we put it in, we got about, what, 3 weeks or so, and it started shifting funny. And we checked it out, and we found broken wire, but that didn't fix it. So I think we had three wires we fixed. We then found corrosion in the pigtail of the shift control solenoid in the transmission, and it drove great for 3 more weeks and then did it again. And all to find out, the shift control solenoid had corrosion in it. Apparently, they did not replace this in our new transmission, unfortunately. So we found a broken pin. We went and got ourselves a new shift solenoid, or transmission control solenoid bank, we'll call it. And we have a new pigtail. So new pigtail, new shift solenoid. We're going to get this knocked out, and hopefully this is the last thing we have to do to this truck. So we're going to get the transmission drained. We bought a brand new drain pan, so it's good and clean because our fluid is brand new. No reason to throw it away. Let's get it drained, get this guy changed, go for a test drive, see if we got her fixed for the final time.
Yeah. Then we get back to that.
Yeah.
Oh, look how clean that is. That's beautiful. Just finished splicing on the new pigtail, and the reason we did the new pigtail is because one of the terminals, or the prongs, corroded off and is stuck in the end of this pigtail. And this was used, it's not a good idea to do all the splices at the same level. That's why you saw us stagger them. It just gets a lot nicer wire loom. That is the right way to do it. We had to order this one the last time. We just did this in an emergency, and yet still have another problem. So we got that switched over. This has been draining for quite a while. We're down to just a drip. We're going to go ahead and drop the pan, get this module unbolted. It's about right here. We'll show you when we get it off, and get this thing changed out. Ooh, it's pretty.
You're just bad at doing that.
It's pretty and clean.
Yeah, it is.
This is the solenoid right here. This is it. So we've got, looks like 8 bolts or so to get that out. The electrical connection goes through the top there. Couple more bolts and we'll have it out. Here's the brand spanking new one, getting ready to go in. A little thump here to get that O-ring to set in. There we go. Make a huge mess in the process. Perfect. These bolts are all the same length, so there's no getting them mixed up, thankfully. It's a lot easier to get my hands in here without the pan gasket on to get this electrical connector plugged in, so that's what we're doing right now. Trying. Seeing with my fingers. There we go, there's the click.
I heard it.
That means she's home. Wipe down our gasket surface here. This transmission leaked just a little bit around this gasket flange. So we're doing a little extra cleaning on it to make sure it's good. AJ just went and cleaned up the pan of the gasket. We're getting this all wiped down so it's good.
I'll hold it if you...
We're all done underneath. We got everything buttoned up, cleaned up, all back together. We bought that brand new drain pan, got all the fluid drained in there, and we're getting ready to dump it back in the funnel, get her all filled up, topped off. Time to warm it up and see how everything does.
We got most of the fluid back in, just doing a quick leak check. before we start it up so we can top it off. Last thing we want to do is start it up and add more and find out we got a leak. We got to drop the pan again. But looks really good, so we're going to start it up, run it through the gears, see what she does. Let's go for a test drive. See what we got going on here. The issue we had was it would start in first, the very first drive, and it would go to second, and then it wouldn't shift into third. You'd have to rev it way up to get it into fourth. And if you slowed down, it would go into third and then go into fourth, and when you came to a stop, it would then stop at second, and you would have to start at second. And then the most recent thing that was going on was the torque converter clutch would stick on when you came to a stop, and it would actually stall the truck. So we got that to reproduce a couple times. That's when we knew we have a solenoid issue, because that's the only thing that's going to do it. I've never heard of a torque converter clutch actually sticking on. All right, so here's what we're looking at. I don't know how well you can see that. I can't see in this tiny little screen. There's a glare.
Yeah.
That might be better. But this right here is gear command. That's what the computer is telling the transmission to do. And this is the gear ratio, and it says 4, but it's in first gear, and that's how I'm noticing. And then this is saying off, meaning the torque converter clutch is off, and that's how the duty cycle, 100% or not. So this is how I know what the transmission is doing while he's driving. It's kind of hard to see, sorry. It drove awesome. That is what it should feel like. I think it even feels better than when we put the transmission in, so they clearly did not do a very good job on that solenoid block. We did put a new pigtail on just so that way it's 100% clean, no risk of corrosion, and a little bit of dielectric grease. So it's perfect. We are now confident we got it fixed. I guess only time will tell, because it seemed like it took about 3 weeks for it to do it before. But thankfully everything went well, went smooth. We were able to get the part today, and it's driving great. So definitely stay tuned. We're back on the come and swap next week. Knock on dashboard. Start getting that thing on the road and ready to go. So like and subscribe, and check back next time.